so we've been hosting these business breakfasts essentially to really help you guys to build your capacity, to build some resilience and help specifically people who are, in the game of making a social impact or, cultural change, creative businesses. The harder of the, I believe the harder of the industries, just helping you guys to get some resilience, maintain yourselves through this situation so that we can cross the line. Oh, I see Mary Helen. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, fantastic.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. So we've been holding these sessions and they're really, as you can tell by the tone, they're relaxed, they're informal. We encourage you to bring a drink. I've got a friend of mine, she's makes these wonderful herbal drinks, and I think it's a mixture of weeds and bark. We just add hot water. You can tell I'm very natural in my knowledge, but I enjoy it, and it's and it supposedly purifies my blood. But yes, so that's the drink. We've got to call it. I've got to find a name for it. But yes, so relax. I will talk for about 25 minutes, giving a presentation. It's bringing together of like 16 years worth of fundraising observations and trial and error, and giving you guys some shortcuts because, let's be honest, let's make sure that we can be as successful as we can be when it comes to fundraising. Fundraising is a process. And I'm really here to, and my team, Shao, wave so that people know. So Shao and Natalia, who are on the call, they're part of the Hatch Ideas team. And, we are passionate about supporting businesses who are making cultural change and social impact. We've worked really hard to find all this wonderful information for you. I'm really pleased that you're here. To take this on board and use it as you can, because right now there are a lot of opportunities, yes, to get grants, but we really want to make sure that you're as successful as you can be in those grant applications and being able to figure out which grants are going to be the best ones for you. Okay, so because I love doing it, a little bit of housekeeping. So all we really ask you to do is just to relax. Please, have questions. I'll do the presentation. If you have questions, you can write them to everybody, or you can write them privately to Hatch Ideas, and then we'll ask them at the end. Or if you would like to ask a question, just do the hand raise thing, or raise your hand and I'll see you, because I think I've got a view enough to see everybody. And then I hope I'll be able to answer your questions. We're holding these sessions pretty much every Tuesday. We've got different topics, so do have a look on our Facebook and Instagram. And one of our next sessions is how to go digital, and we've got a session after that about how to manage your brand. So we're really trying to cover various different aspects of business and organizational development that will help you. So if you do have any topics that you really want us to cover, please let us know, okay? Send us an email or however you want to communicate with us. We've got a phenomenal network of experts, and I'm very, very happy to bring them to you. This is an unprecedented time, and I've been waiting for a moment like this to be able to share all of this intelligence. And this is this is your chance to grab all the support and knowledge that might potentially have been hidden from you because it was part of a program that you weren't eligible for. Anyway, that was a little bit of an industry dig. So this session is about, this is the uncertain times one, but this session is to teach you guys about the process of fundraising, okay? A little bit about what we do at Hatch. So I set up Hatch in 2002 as a platform to promote African art and artists. And around about 2006, that grew into supporting creatives, especially those who want to make an impact for Africa. And that came in the form of delivering marketing training workshops, fundraising, capacity building, business development. And now I'm really proud that Hatch Ideas, we support businesses all across Africa. Currently, we're working in about 7 different incubators across the continent, and we're supporting entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, and also we do a lot of work here in the UK supporting creative and cultural businesses and social enterprises. My specialism within the field is fundraising, and really just so delighted to be able to create a series of talks that's going to be able to help you to have a better understanding about fundraising so that you can be as successful as possible. Yeah. So, how to fundraise for success? Okay, right. The most important thing that I like to start off with is making sure that you actually know who the funders are. Yeah. So you can see the screen and you're like thinking this is really obvious, but actually sometimes the most obvious thing is the thing you have to hold on to the most. Yeah. So you've got yourself, you've got friends and family. Yes, they are your funders as well. Trusts and foundations, individual giving, it's just crowdfunding. I like to look at major donors here as well, but you've got angel investors and you've got banks. We're going to go into this in more detail. Okay, right. So breaking them down, we've got our grants and we've got our donations. We've got our funders. That the money that they give you is pretty much restricted. They're giving you money for a specific reason. So it could be anything from, we want to give money to people who are going to this other thing. I don't want to say end world hunger, but educate young people in science. So we're really into like promoting STEM. We're going to give you money because we want more artists, we want more children to engage in the arts. We're going to give you money because we want to see more innovation in a certain sector, so agri-tech. We want to give you more money because we want more women in employment. Yeah. So they will have a specific requirement for their money, and the criteria is strict. And it's tends to be within a time frame. There is a slow turnaround to receive the funds. So that means that you will apply and it could be 3 months to 6 months until you hear back. And then it could be another 3 months for you to receive the money. A lot of funders understandably know that the cycle of a business or an entrepreneur needs funding in a little bit more of a speedier way. So sometimes you'll have funds that you can access and you'll get a response back and potentially even get the grant within 6 weeks. This is what's happening right now. However, it's still really competitive, but they have reduced the time between which you can apply and receive the funds. Once the situation is over, it will go back. The reason why they have to it takes so much time is because they have to do their due diligence, and they really do have to put in place a process to make sure that the public money that's being spent, or the money is being spent in the way that it's supposed to be spent. So right now, what you're noticing is that there's a lot of, I don't want to call it, well, it is red tape, but a lot of terms and stipulations are being put to one side, and they're in the hope that they can give you the money faster, okay? But still understand though that they can take some time to be received. So I tend to double. So whatever they say, I tend to double it, just so that you are aware of like how long it can take to get grant funding. Okay. Then we've got lenders, so loans and debts. Where we all believe that we're familiar with loans. Yeah, it's one of the most common ways of getting finance. Typically, this is unrestricted use of money, meaning you can use it however you want. So unlike a grant where you have to say, right, we're going to use this money to pay for an artist to come and provide us with 4 weeks worth of workshops between June to July of 2000 and, 2020. Oh my God, what year are we in? With lenders, you don't really have to do that. It's kind of like, you just have to say, I want to use this money to buy a piece of kit, or I need to use this money in order to um, open up an office, or, that you need to have a narrative that fits in with your business plan. That's what they really want to see. But essentially, they just really want to know that you can pay them back their money. So that means that's why the business plan is the partner of a loan. You have to make sure that you can really clearly demonstrate that if they give you 20,000 and then they say you don't have to pay it back for 18 months, after those 18 months, they want to know that you are able to turn over enough money to be able to actually pay that back. The payment plans are really inflexible, so you have to be very mindful of that. There's really no negotiation. They have it on their website and it says very clearly, this is the return rate, this is how much we can lend you, and this is what you are not allowed to use it on, which is quite good actually. And it's very rarely that they will say that, but at least they will be clear on what it is that they want you to, on what it is that they believe their loan should be used for. Applications are really standardized. These days, you can actually just phone up your bank, talk to them, and they'll tell you by clicking some buttons whether or not you're eligible. The debt equity side of things, they're going to be a little bit more interested in your own narrative, similarly to an equity investor. However, they're still principally more interested in whether or not you can pay the money back and whether your business can generate sufficient enough money to achieve the payment schedule that they have designed for you. So debt equity firm would design the repayment plan, whereas a bank would say, this is what our plan is, and you buy into it or not. And if you see, you can get loans from your friends and family. I tend to think that's quite a useful way, but you must go through the process and make sure that you have a really good plan in place with them. Started already to touch on investors. Equity, debt. So what that is, the difference is that, very simply, and it's obviously more technical than this, but you have someone who is going to invest into your business and take a share of the profits. Debt is someone who's going to basically give you a loan, but designed based on much more on terms that are specifically and bespoke to your company. So they're going to have an exit that is much quicker than an equity investor. They're going to want their return is going to be in interest, whereas an equity, their return typically will be in shares. I say typically because the environment is actually changing a lot and becoming more nuanced, but principally it's about shares or interest. So this is partially restricted, so which means that they will have a say on what they want to invest in. So when you go and look at investor platforms, you'll see that it says we will invest in tech companies. Then you'll also have things like we will invest in startup stage only. Yeah, we will not invest in technical equipment, or we will only invest in we won't invest in staff costs. Yeah, so they'll be very specific, but it's negotiable. Yeah. You tend to get staggered receipt in funds, which is great. You can negotiate payment terms, but you know, some people will be looking, they already have in their mind that they want their return after 3 years or 5 years. But if you get into a good enough angel investment group, there might be a lot more wriggle room than, say, when you're approaching a loan, and definitely a lot more than if you're applying for a grant. So they tend to want to be part of the long-term strategy. Yep. Whereas a grant is very short-term. It's there to fix a problem. Yep. A lot of these individuals, they will be there for the long haul, which is like, say, 3 to 7 years. So why do funders fund? Okay, this is where I put this together because it actually brings all, I personally believe, the different funders into one mindset that you can look to. They fund to bring about change. Whoever they are there is a problem that they have identified, and they are giving you money to help them to solve it. Yeah. It could be as simple as the problem they've identified is that they want more money themselves. Okay, let's be honest. But when you're talking about grant funders, they have already seen, so the big one right now is solutions for COVID. Yeah. People right now, they want to see who can be part of the recovery strategy. How can we support children to make sure that they are not too adversely affected from their mental health and well-being because of the COVID situation? Yeah. So they want to see a change. They want to see the disparity between, say, for instance, female-led businesses and male-led businesses. They want to put money into being able to solve that problem. Funders fund because they want to bring about change. It might be equity and equality in business. It could be more access to something. They fund so that they can meet their businesses' needs. So a lot of the corporates, they would have done a 5-year strategy in terms of where they want to be. And so they then look for giving out money through corporate social responsibility. And they also give out money through sponsorship, which I didn't list. And it's important to note that I don't see sponsorship as part of fundraising. I see it as part of income generating. But anyway, so the business has actually decided we really need some people with outside external expertise to support us in order for us to be able to meet our businesses challenges. So for instance, it might be that so right now, First Bank in Nigeria, they've got a call saying that they want to get 1 million children to be online. I think it's within a year. So anyone that can come up with that solution for them to help them with their business objectives stands a really good opportunity to be able to get the funding that they are offering. It's about meeting a need in society as well. So funders fund because fundamentally, there will be a local issue which they want to be a part of. It could be anything from underemployment to the homelessness situation that many countries experience all around the world. So they will actually be looking out for the fact that, you know what, the society has the problem that we need to solve. I find this is one of the reasons why it's interesting and good to read things like the Financial Times and to read the newspapers, because you can then start to understand what it is that society needs to change, yeah? And then creating a legacy. So this is where the foundations come in. Typically, you'll have someone who's been doing some work through their life, and then when they pass, they want that work to continue. And that means that they want to make sure that either their work continues or their name continues, yeah? So these are really important because this is, if you notice, none of these funders are funding you. There is not a single funder out there is sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I'm looking to fund that person. What they want you to do is help them to solve a problem. Okay. So the fundraising process, what you need to know. So you need to know how much money you need and why, okay? When you set off and you start doing your fundraising, be very, very sure about the project that you are focusing in on. Know why you need to acquire money for it. Is it to pilot an initiative? Is it to scale your business? Is it to rapidly grow one of the initiatives that you take it to a next level? Yeah. Is it to move one of your initiatives to another country, to another demographic? Be really clear what you need funding for, why, and how much. Yeah. So as example, we're creating these home learning kits in Nigeria and we need funding for that. And it's really clear. We need money for editors and we need money for researchers and designers so that we can produce these home learning kits. Yeah. How much money do we need? We need £30,000 because we have done a costing of how much it will cost to do these things. There's a time period. We're producing these worksheets between, since April until September. Be really clear. Don't be happenstance about it. Be very specific. And so take time in developing and costing the project. It's really important, yeah? Now, once you've done that, once you know what it is that you actually are seeking funding for, you really need to do some research on which funders are interested in the type of project that you are looking to develop or you have developed, okay? And this is where you match their criteria. So for instance, with the home learning kits, we were able to identify funders based on the audience that they wanted to reach, but equally on the change that they wanted to achieve. So we looked for all the ones that one, interested in education, then scaled it back to interested in Africa. Sometimes it's not so obvious, and sometimes it's about messaging. So it's about saying to your, and this is where the supporters are really important, saying to your supporters, we are fundraising in order to get children who are not in school right now access to education and to also make sure they have an enjoyable time or as much as an enjoyable time. Send that message out to your supporters, and through your supporters, they will be able to then reach those who you might not have been able to reach because your message is clear, yeah? So these home learning kits are there to engage and entertain young people. Is there anybody out there who similarly who has a similar ambition? Yeah, they'll join the dots and they'll get in touch. So we've already had corporates getting in touch who we did not know, even through research, that they had this similar interest, okay? So really make sure that you're researching and use your supporters as part of that, okay? Now, you've got to show passion and energy. As you can tell, I'm overflowing with passion and energy. I have so much belief in what I do that even sometimes, even if a corporate, they haven't actually thought that what we're doing is part of their criteria, we've been able to work with them to get them to actually prioritize what we're doing, okay? So if you are clear and you know what it is that you are going for, you'll be able to target the funds that are existing, but you'll also be able to convert some of the funders who are sitting on the fence and are not quite so sure how they want to deploy their funding, okay? So it's also much more interesting to read an application that is full of passion and full of energy and really cares about the change that they're trying to make. It stands out. And it also enables the judging panel to be able to, storytelling really enables the judging panel to be able to sift through, and it just gives you a much better chance of, like I said, being memorable. Get feedback, get in touch. If you are successful, if you are unsuccessful, still get in touch. It's really important that you maintain a relationship with any type of funder, from the grants officer to your friends and family. People forget friends and family are one of their best, well, their biggest and most obvious funding pool. Communicate with them and keep them up to date. People like to do that through a newsletter. I mean, send a polite email to say thank you for, even if you weren't successful, get some feedback, say thank you, and keep them up to date. And you can do that through a newsletter, which is now very much, when I first started, well, I didn't think we had email. So, you know, now newsletters are a very normal thing to have. Okay, so the application process, really step by step. Ensure you meet the funders' criteria. I promise you, it's on their website. If it isn't on their website, just call them, yeah? So just make sure you meet the funding criteria. Sometimes it'll be age specific, geographically specific. It will be needs specific. It will be change specific. And it says it really clearly on their website. We want to fund organizations who will create this change and meet this need, yeah? And we will fund people of this age in this country for this period of time. Make sure you know that the deadline as well, okay? Don't get upset if you don't meet their criteria. Put it down, make a note of it, and then when you have got another project, yeah, you've already got a database that you've started to be creating, and then you'll be like, oh, actually, these guys would be really interested in this, okay? Know how much funding you can apply for. It will say we will fund projects between 5 to 15 of whatever currency it is in your country. They will say that they will only fund 80%. Yep, so that means you have to go and find the other 20, okay? Know what type of activity you can apply for. They will say we only support research or we don't support research, yeah? So I've just got to move this. Yeah, make sure you know when their application deadlines are. This is a difficult one, and I fall foul of this all the time. So what I would say is, as soon as you meet everything, put the application deadline in your diary. Put at least 2 weeks before it so that you have an alert, and make sure that you try to submit 48 hours before the funding deadline. I've had well, not too many, a couple of times where we've missed a deadline, and it's so sad. So, you know, so just be mindful that deadlines are deadlines. Read through the funders' guidelines, read them again, and if in doubt, contact them. I find it really difficult to read funders' guidelines, so I get shouted to do it, and I get shouted, and then I get shouted. I can't read. It's like I feel it's an affliction. But knowing that, I just break it down and I get my highlighter pen, and you just have to go through it. And sometimes you can read in groups. This is what friends are for as well. Get your friends to read through funding applications with you, and get your friends to proofread them, yeah? If your friends can understand your funding application, then the funding team should be able to understand it too. Okay, and then once you've completed the application, submit it. Even if you think it's rubbish, submit it anyway. Yeah, you never know. It's happened to us. We submitted the wrong application. They still gave us the money because we did all the things that we were supposed to do. So it was great. So, you know, you never know, especially in this current climate. People are really supporting attempt, and they're really supporting people who are trying. And what they will do is they'll phone you and say, your application was a mess, but we can see what you're trying to do. And then they will potentially give you a little bit of extra support that you need, because they do want to, if you've got a really good solution, they know that you might not have the best process in place, but they will do what they can to support you. So here endeth the lesson. I will open up for, sorry, I did overrun a little bit. I had to stop share. So I'm really happy to take your questions. It is a whistle stop tour. understand that completely. But I hope that you were able to gather some useful bits. I'm trying to see the questions in the
I've
chat.
unmuted everyone, so if someone has a question, please feel free to actually away, or you can put it in the comment box. We did have some questions actually during the presentation first.
Could you, yeah, because I can't, okay, and, okay. Okay, so there's the only difference is technical. So in terms of, and by no means I'm not an investor, but so in terms of angel investment groups, they are individual people who have decided that they want to come together in order to fund a business. Yeah, so they will tend to make up the terms themselves, and they have more of an interaction with your business. Yeah, there's no real technical difference. It's more of the relationships. In terms of crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, what tends to happen is that it's a platform that you're having a relationship with. Yeah, and it allows a broader group of people to be able to invest in an idea or into a project. Yeah, so they will have like, so the platform is like the middle person. So with angel investment groups, there tends not to be a middle person. They are who you're working with directly, but with the crowdfunding platform, there is a middle person. Yeah, the reason that there isn't much difference is that you still have to abide by all the financing laws, and you still have to have an exit strategy, you still have to have a pitch document, you still have to have all the requirements that you would need for any investment. Yeah, but it's more about the relationship. Does that answer what your question?
I think I would add also the point that sometimes with angel investors, you have to give up part of your product, part of your firm. Sometimes like shares, stuff like that.
You do have to with crowdfunding equity. You do have to, okay. with investment, you will have to with the crowdfunding as well. If it's just crowdfunding, no.
Crowd investment, not crowdfunding.
Yeah, if it's just crowdfunding, then no. But with equity investment, you have to. So it's just that so when you look on the website, it will specifically say how much shares, and sometimes they do it like a spread bet share. You know, it gets too technical for me at the end of the day. But the point is, whether it's angel investment or crowdfunding, equity investment or debt investment, they are still buying shares. They're still taking a part of your business. The only difference is you're interfacing with a third party with the crowdfunding platform, whereas with angel investment networks, you actually meeting with them directly. Yeah.
So we had two questions as well. First one is, should we focus on banks that we have a relationship regarding funding, and where can we find these angel investors? I lost you for a bit, so I don't know if you already covered some of that.
No, okay, so in terms of the banks, that is a good one. It depends on the country you're in, actually. I think it's really important to develop relationship with banks anyway, from the point of view of being able to understand how they lend, right? Just for that is just really good to understand. So we have a relationship with Fidelity Bank and Zenith Bank in Nigeria. We will never get a loan from them, but we have flipped them into sponsors, okay? So we're just not eligible, and their interest rates are too high. So, you know, but it depends what kind of relationship you mean. So I would say, yes, I mean, it's good to develop a relationship with everybody. There's also, just came to my mind, if you do develop a relationship with a bank or bank manager, you can have them on your board, maybe. You can, you know, people are interesting, yeah? When you start looking at them as people, you have a different opportunity, yeah? I don't know if that answers your question, but I would say developing a relationship with anybody is a good idea. And But the thing is with banks, they have really strict criteria. So even if you are the best of friends with them, depending on what their policy is, you might not be able to negotiate anything. Yeah. But if you are in an environment where you can still have, in the UK, you can't really have conversations with banks. But if you're in a country or an environment where you can, then absolutely. My first ever loan I got was back in the good old days when you actually talked to bank managers, and they gave me a loan based on my VIM and my fabulous business plan. So, you know, I would say absolutely develop a relationship. In terms of where to find angel investors, so we have got a list, and so if you get in touch, we'll be happy to share with you some of the angel investor platforms. We can't share individual angel investors because that's just morally wrong, but we can definitely send you lists. The unfortunate thing is angel investors have a propensity to, well, they typically like to fund tech. So do try and email us and be specific about your sector and be specific about the stage of your business. It's going to really help us to be able to say, oh yeah, you should potentially get in touch with these guys, or, you know, unfortunately, the investment world hasn't caught up with your genius yet. What, any other questions?
Just to remind everybody, there's about 10 minutes left. So if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask away.
I can't imagine. Oh, have you, Lydia? Fantastic.
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, like I've always wondered, when a funder says, I can't give you 100% of what you're looking for, and you have to show that you have like maybe the 20% or the 30%, what exactly is it you want to hear? What are they, like, what is their angle? You know,
I understand.
like, what are they trying to find out? Yes.
Yeah, I understand. So funders don't want to take 100% of a risk on anything. And so the way that they are able to know that what you're doing is going to be successful is someone else taking a risk too. So it's actually interesting, even though it sounds like they're not being generous, in this current landscape, where there's a lot of financial hocus pocus going on, it's a really great way for them to, one, guarantee. But I also think it's a good way for you as well. If you think about it, yeah, if you're able to get in the support of two funders, I know it seems like hard work, but if you go through the process, you can have 5 funders on the same project. That's like, that could potentially be amazing. Imagine going around with like 5 funders and they're all happy and they all come to the launch of your event, and you've got 5 different funders talking about how awesome you are. When we launched in Nigeria, the arts education charity, we made sure that we went into the launch with 4 different funders, so that people could show that we're the big boys, you know? So now it's become a bit of a culture to, one, they're doing it because they want a guarantee that someone else has faith in you. So that means that you'll be successful, and they're not taking all of the expectation, yeah? But also on the flip side, you should flip it around and look at it in the sense of, it's better to go into this with more supporters, more funders, than it is to have a single funder. So if, for instance, the single funder went bust because of COVID, at least you have that one other funder. Even if they only came in with 20, at least you have that other funder. So look at it as a guarantee from both sides of the fence, yeah? It sounds strict, but essentially it's a guarantee, okay?
Yeah.
And also, and the other question was, ask them what it is that they want. Don't forget you can communicate with them if there's anything that's not clear. So when they say we want 20%, and you're like, what is that? Is that in kind? Is that in cash? Does that have to be now? Does that have to, can that be in the future? Can that be in sales? You know, just really do ask them, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I know it can sound a bit sort of daunting, but I think if you ask in a way, if you have your project and it's really solid, asking is actually helping you to build a stronger project, okay? Because it's enabling you to be able to deliver as well as you can. So right now we're doing a project with Thames Festival in London and with Queen Street. And one of the funders has asked, what is our social distancing policy? I don't have a social distancing policy. And so immediately I was like, I need to ask the bigger organization because they've got the resources. Look, guys, what's your social distancing policy? Knowing full well that they won't have one. But which could risk, you know, the relationship. But the truth is, I asked in such a way that it was supportive for them as well, because it's kind of like we're doing this together. So if we do this together, we need to together come up with a social distancing policy so that we can achieve what we need to achieve. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like by you telling me how you want that 20% makes it possible for me to be able to actually deliver the project as well to the best of our ability. So never feel that it's a test, it's a collaboration, it's a partnership, and you have to go in with that frame of mind, okay? Remember, people don't give money to people they don't know. So really do develop relationships with funders, and equally take them along with your journey as well. They can't do what they want to do without you, okay? They may not know that, but through your actions and through the way that you deliver, they will respect you and they will understand, you know what, this is a valuable place for us to put our money. Without X, Y, and Z person, we wouldn't be able to make the change that we want to make, support the needs that we want to support, have the legacy, yeah, create our business, what is it called, targets, okay? Any other question?
I think Anne had her hand up.
Another question, fabulous, go on, Anne.
Yes, I would also like to add, if you have like an investor saying, no, I give you only 80%, I think what we also need to understand is that we need to look at the crowd. People tend to give like 10, 20 euros or pounds easier than 100,000. And you do need to have a crowd. I have an example. We just past week, we had here in Hamburg, we had a festival, a non-festival. It's like, and it was the logo was no one's coming, but everybody's taking part. So the festival raised 440,000 euros for the arts here in Hamburg. Just by giving out, they do lectures, podcasts, stuff like that. But with this ticket system for 10, 20 years, they were able to raise this money. So look at your crowd, downsize the amount people need to give you, maybe as well.
No, I know, I hear what you're saying, Anne. I think that's where the supporters come in. It also depends on what kind of relationship that you have with your supporters and what it is you're trying to achieve. So, you know, they were probably doing a fundraiser that would go to somewhere else. So you have to be very mindful that the message that you send is singular and clear enough for a crowd of people to be able to support. The wider the group, the more succinct the message has to be. This is another reason why the crowdfunding platforms are quite good. So have a look at them. Have a look at what they offer to their groups. Also have a look at their social media traction as well. You'll notice that they've potentially been in this space for quite some time, and they've actually got very good supporters. So this is what, if you want to go down the road of crowdfunding, it is true, it's about the supporters, and you'll be able to get smaller amounts from them. The reason why supporters are really important is because when funders are looking at you, even if you're asking them for a tenner, 10 of whatever currency, sorry, or, you know, asking them for $1 million, they will now, thankfully, because of Google, they will just go, you know, and put your name in, and they'll want to see what traction, what, you know, what people say about you, the kind of traction you have, you know, have you been endorsed? You don't have to be to a great degree. We're not talking about you need to have 50,000 followers or all those types of things. But they want to see, yeah. So definitely make sure that you absolutely have your supporters. It could be 12 people, but make sure that they are authentic and you have a good relationship with them. They are part of what you're trying to achieve, and they can advocate for you, and they can also be an extra pair of eyes and ears for you when it comes to you going through the fundraising process. So that brings us over time by 30 seconds. I really sincerely hope that that gave you guys, I'm sorry, it is an overview, it's 45 minutes, but if there is anything else, any other topics you feel that we should cover, please do email us. If there's any, what is it called, anything else that you think that we could or should be doing in terms of these breakfast sessions, again, please let us know, okay? And we've put these together because we had a number of people in our network that just really needed some more information to just give them that edge to weather the storm. So I really hope that I've been able to give you a bit more information to help you through this wonderful COVID crisis that we find ourselves in. Anyway, I bid you adieu. Thank you so much, guys. Okay.